a reading from The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, a public domain work originally published in 1910. I'll be reading select portions and offering commentary through a Gnostic and consciousness based lens. This is not an audiobook, this is a commentary series. So, this is chapters, like I said, chapters 9 and 10. And what we're looking at here is, first of all, how to use the will on chapter 9. To set about getting rich in a scientific way, you do not try to apply your willpower to anything outside of yourself. You have no right to do so anyway. It is wrong to apply your will to other men and women in order to get them to do what you wish done. It is as flagrantly wrong to coerce people by mental power as it is to coerce them by physical power. If compelling people by physical force to do things for you reduces them to slavery, compelling them by mental means accomplishes the exact same thing. The only difference is in method. If taking things from people by physical force is robbery, then taking things by mental force is robbery also. There is no difference in principle. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person, even for his own good, if you do not know what is for his own good. The science of getting rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. There is not the slightest necessity for doing so. Indeed, any attempt to use your will upon others will only tend to defeat your purpose. You do not need to apply your will to things in order to compel them to come to you. That would simply be trying to coerce God and would be foolish and useless, as well as irreverent. You do not have to compel God to give you good things any more than you have to use your willpower to make the sun rise. You do not have to use your willpower to conquer an unfriendly deity or to make stubborn and rebellious forces do your bidding. Substance is friendly to you, and it is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. To get rich, you only need to use your willpower upon yourself. When you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. That is the legitimate use of the will in getting what you want, to use it in holding yourself to the right course. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in the certain way. Do not try to protect your will or your thoughts or your mind out into space to act those things on people. I'm sorry, let me start over. Do not try to project. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind onto space in order to act on things or people. Keep your mind at home. It can accomplish more there than elsewhere. Use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose, and use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, the more rapidly you will get rich, because you will make only positive impressions upon substance, and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. The picture of your desires held with faith and purpose is taken up by the formless and permeates it to great distances throughout the universe, for all I know. As this impression spreads, all things are set moving toward its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and all the things yet uncreated are stirred toward bringing into being that which you want. All force begins to be exerted in that direction. All things begin to move toward you. The minds of people everywhere are influenced toward doing the things necessary to the fulfilling of your desires, and they work for you unconsciously. But you can check all this by starting a negative impression in the formless substance. Doubt or unbelief is as certain as a start in movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one toward you. It is not by understanding this that most people who try to make use of mental science in getting rich make their failure. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubts and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are unto them that believe, and unto them only. Notice how insistent Jesus was upon this point of belief. And now you know the reason why. Since belief is all important, it behooves you to guard your thoughts, and as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about it is important that you should command your attention. And here the will comes into use, for it is by your will that you determine upon what things your attention shall be fixed. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Things are not brought into being by thinking about their opposites. Health is never attained by studying disease and thinking about disease. Righteousness is not promoted by studying sin and thinking about sin, and no one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. Medicine as a science of disease has increased disease. Religion as a science of sin has promoted sin, and economics as a study of poverty will fill the world with wretchedness and want. Do not talk about poverty, do not investigate it, or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. What concerns you is the cure. Do not spend your time in charitable work or charity movements. All charity only tends to perpetuate the wretchedness it aims to eradicate. I do not say that you should be hard hearted or unkind and refuse to hear the cry of the need, but you must not try to eradicate poverty in any of the conventional ways. Put poverty behind you and put all that pertains to it behind you and make good. Get rich. That is the best way you can help the poor. And you cannot hold the mental image which is to make you rich if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers, of the horrors of child labor, and so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing about these things, and the widespread knowledge of them does not tend at all to do away with poverty. What tends to do away with poverty is not the getting of pictures of poverty into your mind, but getting of pictures of wealth into the minds of the poor. You are not deserting the poor in their misery when you refuse to allow your mind to be filled with pictures of that misery. Poverty can be done away with, not by increasing the number of well to do people who think about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people who purpose with faith to get rich. The poor do not need charity, they need inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two, but inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Prove it by getting rich yourself. The only way in which poverty will be ever banished from this world is by getting a large and constantly increasing number of people who practice the teachings of this book. People must be taught to become rich by creation, not by competition. Every man who becomes rich by competition throws down behind him the ladder which he rises and keeps others down. But every man who gets rich by creation opens a way for thousands to follow him and inspires him to do so. You are not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty, see poverty, read about poverty, or even think or talk about it, or even listening to those who talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want. Woo! That's a good chapter. You had me though at the beginning, talking about some look away from the poor and the poverty. Ooh, ooh. Okay, I didn't know where he was going with that one. So, on chapters 5 and 6 before this one, I think it was 5 and 6, or sorry, 7 and 8 before this one, I was like, I'm gonna start previewing the chapters, then reading them, then discussing them. And I didn't pre-read this one. Reasons, right? Reasons. And so I have some spots highlighted and all these things, but um, all the promises are unto them that believe and to them only. And I highlighted that as I was reading it a while ago because I often say in my coaching conversations, my curious conversations with people is like, if you don't believe it, that's your guarantee that you're never going to get the thing you desire. I am a mindset, a manifestation coach, a mental health, mental wellness, and manifestation coach. Like that's what I do. And so many people are like, I could not. Like it doesn't matter what they want. They want healing. Do you believe you can be healed? Do you want riches? Do you believe you can get rich? Do you want love? Do you believe that you're lovable? Do you believe that you can be loved? Are you worth it? And so, when you believe that, you focus and you fix on that. And that's how you have faith. You don't, well, if this is healed, then I will be better. Or if this, then that. We're not living there. We're ascending into unity consciousness. That's what Gnosticism is the intimate and direct knowing of God through the self. Like it's Gnostic, it's gnosis, it's gnosis. And so it talks about demonstrating, if you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich by proving it by getting rich yourself. There is no better proof. I can have 1,000 feedback testimonies on my website, and I do, but I can have all of those. But if I'm not rich, If I'm not wealthy, if I'm not at ease and at peace in my identity, my I am identity, then who am I to speak? I'm just a talking head. I'm just an empty puppet, right? And so this matters. Like these things matter. And so he talked about every man who becomes rich by competition throws down behind him the ladder by which he rises and keeps others down. But every man who gets rich by creation opens a way for thousands to follow him and inspires them to do so. That's why I'm recording these chapters. That's why I'm posting it on my YouTube. And that's why we are doing this together. We are getting rich together. It's using your willpower to actually create a fork in the road, and you take the way that you want that desired ending. And so that's just the consciousness of it. Are you what are you conscious of being, your state of being? I am poor. Really? And so it is, says the formless substance, right? No, I am wealthy, I'm abundant, I'm at ease, I'm at peace. I want money, and money wants me. In fact, this book said that it wants you more. Hold on, let me go back. It said, da, 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 da. Where's it at? It just basically says, like, God wants to bless you more than you want it. Here we go. I keep wanting to say page 82. Substance is friendly to you, and it is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. Say less. I'm sorry. Why is he so obsessed with me? Like, money is so obsessed. Okay, sorry. I just looked over and I saw like cool things in the clouds. So, not Jesus coming in a cloud of glory. All right, she's on one today. Chapter 10. This is a continuation. So, this says further use of the will. You cannot retain a true and clear vision of wealth if you are constantly turning your attention to opposing pictures, whether they be external or imaginary. Do not tell of your past troubles of a financial nature. If you have had them, do not think of them at all. Do not tell of the poverty of your parents or the hardships of your early life. To do any of these things is to mentally class yourself with the poor and for the time being, and it will certainly check the movement of things in your direction. Let the bed bury their bed. Let the dead bury their dead, as Jesus said. Put poverty and all things that pertain to poverty completely behind you. You have accepted a certain theory of the universe as being correct, and all are resting on your hopes and happiness on its being correct. And what can you gain by giving heed to conflicting theories? Do not read religious books which tell you that the world is soon coming to an end. Do not read the writings of muckrakers and pessimistic philosophers who tell you that it's going to the devil. The world is not going to the devil, it is going to God. It is a wonderful becoming. True, there may be a good many things in existing conditions which are disagreeable, but that is what the use of studying them when they are certainly passing away, and when the study of them only tends to check their passing and keep them with us. Okay, wow. I'm going to read that again. True, there may be a good many things in existing conditions which are disagreeable, but what is the use of studying them when they are certainly passing away, and when the study of them only tends to check their passing and keep them with us? Why give them time and attention to things which are being removed by evolutionary growth when you can hasten their removal only by promoting their evolutionary growth as far as your part of it goes? Oof. I'm gonna I'm going to pause there. This basically just says like there's a lot of things that are passing away. Let them die. Let them die off. Why give attention to the things that are dying and not your evolution? So basically promote, like can you prevent it from dying by promoting the okay, so why give time and attention to things which are being removed by evolutionary growth when you can hasten their removal only by promoting the evolutionary growth as far as your part goes? So you can hasten the death by knowing the death of it is causing your growth. That's what that means to me. Continuing, no matter how horrible in seeming may be the conditions in certain countries, sections, or places, you waste your time and destroy your own chances by considering them. You should interest yourself in the world's becoming rich. Think of the riches of the world is coming into instead of the poverty it is growing out of, and bear in mind that the only way in which you can assist the world in growing rich is by growing rich yourself through the creative method, not the competitive one. Ooh, I'm gonna highlight that. You can assist the world in growing rich by growing rich yourself through the creative method, not the competitive one. Thank God. Give your attention wholly to riches, ignore poverty. Whenever you think or speak of these who are poor, think and speak of them as though they are becoming rich, as though are to be congratulated rather than pitied. Then they and others will catch the inspiration and begin to search for the way out. Because I say that you are to give your whole time and mind and thought to riches, it does not follow that you are to be sordid or mean. To become really rich is the noblest aim you can have in life, for it includes everything else. On the competitive plane, the struggle to get rich is a godless scramble for power over other men. But when we come into the creative mind, all this is changed. All that is possible in the way of greatness and soul unfoldment, of service and lofty endeavor, comes by way of getting rich. All is made possible by the use of things. If you lack for physical health, you will find that the attainment of it is conditional on your getting rich. Only those who are emaciated from financial worry and who have emanci- emaciated. Whoa, Freudian slip there. If you lack for physical, no, sorry. Only those who are emancipated from financial worry and who have the means to live a carefree existence and follow hygienic practices can have and retain health. That's juicy. Let me go ahead and highlight that. We're reading this together. Together. We're going to come back to that. Moral and spiritual greatness is possible only to those who are above the competitive battle for existence, and only those who are becoming rich on the plane of creative thought are free from the degrading influences of competition. If your heart is set on domestic happiness, remember that love flourishes best where there is refinement, a high level of thought, and freedom from corrupting influences. And these are to be found only where riches are attained by the exercises of creative thought, without strife or rivalry. You can aim at nothing so great or noble, I repeat, as to become rich. And you must fix your attention upon your mental picture of riches to the exclusion of all that may tend to dim or obscure the vision. You must learn to see the underlying truth in all things. You must see beneath all seemingly wrong conditions the great one life ever moving forward toward fuller expression and more competitive, complete happiness. It is the truth that there is no such thing as poverty, that there is only wealth. Some people remain in poverty because they are ignorant of the fact that there is wealth for them, and these can be best taught by showing them the way to affluence in your own person and practice. Others are poor because, while they feel there is a way out, they are too intellectually indolent to put forth the mental effort necessary to find that way and travel it. And for these, the very best thing you can do is arouse their desire by showing them the happiness that comes from being rightly rich. Others still are poor because while they have some notion of science, they have become so swamped and lost in the maze of metaphysical and occult theories that they do not know which road to take. They try a mixture of many systems and fail in all. For these, again, the very best thing you can do is to show the right way in your own person and practice, and an ounce of doing things is a worth of a pound of theorizing. Good Lord, I'm convicted. I thought I highlighted that other one, but that last statement, I have to slow down and double highlight it because this is a freaking mirror and I'm irritated about it. Not really. I love it. I'm not really irritated. Um, I'm thankful, actually. I'll come back to that. Okay, I'll come back. The very best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself. You can serve God and man in no more effective way than by getting rich. That is, if you get rich by the creative method and not by the competitive one. Another thing. We assert that this book gives in detail the principles of the science of getting rich, and if that is true, you do not need to read any other book upon the subject. This may sound narrow and egotistical, but consider. There is no more scientific method of computation in mathematics than by addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. There is no other method possible. There can be but one shortest distance between 2 points. There's only one way to think scientifically, and that is to think in the way that leads by the most direct and simple route to the goal. No man has formulated a briefer or less complex system than the one set forth herein. It has been stripped of all non essentials. When you commence on this, lay all others aside, put them out of your mind altogether. Read this book every day. Keep it with you. Commit it to memory and do not think of other systems and theories. If you do, you will begin to have doubts and you will be uncertain and unwavering in your thought, and then you will begin to make failures. After you have made good and become rich, you may study other systems as much as you please. But until you are quite sure that you have gained what you want, do not read anything on this line but this book, unless it's to be the author's mentioned in the preface. And read only the most optimistic comments on the world's news, those in harmony with your picture. Also, postpone your investigations into the occult. Do not dabble in theosophy, spiritualism, or any kindred studies. It is very likely that the dead still live and are near. And it is very likely that the dead still live and are near, but if they are, let them alone and mind your own business. Talking about the occult, the dead, dealing with the dead people. Okay, anyway. Wherever the spirits of the dead may be, they have their own work to do and their own problems to solve, and we have no right to interfere with them. We cannot help them, and it's very doubtful whether they can help us or whether we have any right to trespass upon their time if they can. Wow, I'm being stricken by a yawn. Let the dead and the hereafter alone and solve your own problem. Get rich. If you begin to mix with the occult, you will start mental cross currents, which will surely bring your hopes to shipwreck. Now, this and the preceding chapters have brought us to the following statement of basic facts. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance, produced by the thing that is imagined by the thought. A man can form things in his thought, and, by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can create the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants, will hold this picture in his thoughts with the fixed purpose to get what he wants, and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants, closing his mind against all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith. And in addition to all this, we shall now see that he must live and act in a certain way. That is one hell of a cliffhanger. In a certain way, acting in a certain way. Well, TLDR. Like, we know it. You act as though you already have it. Anyway, we're gonna go back and debrief really quickly. You can assist the world by growing riches by growing with yourself through creative method, not the competitive one. I highlighted that as we were talking because it's very energetically feminine to use creative thought rather than competitiveness to get rich. I do not know why I'm yawning. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry because I'm just breathing, right? Can I breathe? Can a girl breathe? Anyway, it's very feminine. And so when I quit my job and I created my business and the ministry, there's been days on end where I'm just like a blob. And money's like, "Hey girl." And I'm like, "Hey." And money's like, "Bills." And I'm like, "I know." And it's like, but you need to hustle, you need to go work, you need to do the damn thing. And there was a few times I did go do the damn thing and I hustled. My mom can tell you we would be on the phone and I'd be driving 37 minutes to go do a delivery for something to make $13. And that's not including the gas spent. And I did get to log my miles, but those miles coming back to the what per mileage that we get back on, taxes, like is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't know. It was exhausting. But now I guess the way Tasha learns is kind of had to get bumped around a little bit to be like, there has to be a better way. And there is a better way. And this is also when I'm walking around, talking about the I am presence, but integrating the information. Like when you switch your whole identity, then everything you do switches. And that includes how to get rich, how to be well, how to have a relationship, like how to live, how do we act in this certain way? We're going to talk about it on the next chapter. So, um, continuing on, only those who are emaciated from financial worry and who have the means to live a carefree existence and follow hygienic practices can health, have and retain health. I love that because when you're freed from financial worry and when you could be without worry, it says live a carefree existence and follow hygienic practices such as taking care of your body. So when you're free from financial worries, when you can live without concern a carefree existence and have the means to not worry about how the bills are going to be paid and focus just on your bodily health, you can have and retain health. And then it goes on to talk about if your heart is set on domestic happiness, remember that love flourishes best when there is a refinement, a high level of thought, and a freedom from corrupting influences. You're living above it, right? You're living above like the striving and the negativity and the muck and the bottom feeder. Like we are not bottom feeders, you guys. We are abundant. We are affluent. We are the elite. We are the righteous, the holy. We are the chosen ones because we have chosen to use the tool of the mind in a good way, in the best way, the way that it was meant. Moving on, it says others are still poor because while they have some notion of science, they have become so swamped and lost in the maze of metaphysical and occult theories that they do not know which road to take. They try a mixture of many systems and fail in all. So that I highlighted it and I said I'll have to pause and I'll have to come back because that's me. That was me. I mean, listen, guys. Gemini, 29 degrees, anoretic, like super duper heady, intellectual, smart, too smart for my own good, right? And a big ass mouth to boot. And so when I started, like when I woke up, had my conscious awakening, it was like, whoa, little by little. And here's the deal, I went down every avenue. I'm insatiably curious. I'm a hoarder of information. And so basically, so swamped and lost in the maze of metaphysical and occult theories that they do not know which road to take. Well, fortunately for all of us listening to the sound of my voice and the words coming out of my own mouth, yes, I went down every avenue and they all say the same fucking thing. Okay? They really all do. The idea, however, is to find any of them and stick with it. Stick with it. Stick with it. Just commit. Commit. My word for 2026 is certainty. Is certainty. So it's interesting how it's already coming out of my chest here on January 19th, 2026. So, um, an ounce of doing things is worth a pound of theorizing. So that's it. That's a great ending for this particular recording. This is again The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, and that was chapters 9 and 10. I'll be back soon for chapters 11 and 12, and we gonna do this together. Have fun, get rich. Bye.